A stage's lights illuminate not just the actors, but also their inner worlds. The stage had always seemed like an unreachable place to me. It felt as though those lights shone only for the talented, the brave, and the confident. I, on the other hand, was someone who shrank under every spotlight, my voice trembling and my words tangling. Yet deep inside, I held a belief that I somehow belonged on that stage. Whenever I passed by the theater, I would pause for a moment. Looking through the glass, I'd see people moving effortlessly on stage. Laughter, lines, and applause filled the air like whispers of my own dreams, but I never had the courage to take that first step. One day, clutching a flyer tightly in my hand, I decided to audition for the theater group. My heart was pounding, and my feet felt like they were dragging me backward. As I stepped inside, a warm light greeted me, spreading across my face. In that moment, I felt the story beginning. Auditioning was a far greater challenge than I had expected. It wasn't just about stepping onto the stage and reciting lines. It was the first step on a journey that required me to confront myself. When my voice cracked and wavered, I expected everyone to stare or laugh. But then, I caught the calm and supportive gaze of Mia, the theater group's director. "It doesn't matter where you've come from," Mia had said, her voice steady and reassuring. "You're here to tell your story and find your voice. Remember, the stage can be your mirror, but it can also be your escape." Those words unlocked the first of many fears I'd carried for years. But I realized this journey wouldn't just be about acting, it would also be about embracing my identity and finding the courage to share it with others. On my first day in the theater group, I remember how small and ordinary I felt among everyone else. A large group had gathered around the stage, passionately discussing the play. I stood in a corner waiting for a moment when I could quietly slip away unnoticed. But Mia noticed me. "Come," she said with a warm smile. "Let me introduce you to some people." She took me around and introduced me to the actors and backstage crew. For the first time, a glimmer of hope sparked within me that I could belong to a community. Under Mia's leadership, the mutual respect and support everyone showed each other began to nurture a growing sense of courage within me. When rehearsals began, things got even harder. The first time I stood up to read my lines on stage, my knees trembled. Feeling the other actors' eyes on me left me frozen for a moment. The words echoed in my mind but refused to leave my lips. Just then, Mia approached the edge of the stage and whispered, "Close your eyes and imagine yourself somewhere outside this room. It's just you and your character." I took a deep breath, closed my eyes, and started again. This time the words began to flow. My voice was still shaky, but I managed to finish the sentences. When everyone applauded at the end of the rehearsal, I tasted the sweetness of my first success on stage. But for me, theater was more than just a play. As I stepped onto the stage again and again, I started to discover parts of myself I'd been hiding for years. I began to ask myself questions. Who was I? Beyond my dreams, who did I want to be? One day after rehearsal, Mia sat down next to me. "You're hiding something," she said with a knowing smile. "How can you tell?" I asked, surprised. "The stage reveals everything," she replied. "But that's not a bad thing. Whatever you're hiding, bring it to the stage. Don't be afraid to tell your story." Mia's words unlocked yet another door inside me. Until then, I had found pieces of myself in every character I played, but I was running from telling my own story. One night, after everyone had left following a rehearsal, I stood on the stage. Staring out at the empty seats, I whispered to myself, "Someday, on this stage, I won't just reveal a character, I'll reveal who I truly am, and it will be a real story. Not just for me, but for others too." That night, I started to see myself not just as an actor, but as someone brave enough to share their own story. But the real challenge lay ahead, bringing that story to the stage. It waited for me in the space between my dreams and my fears. That night, everything became clear backstage. Stepping onto the stage was not just a performance, it was a declaration of my freedom. Deciding to reveal my identity was not only a turning point for myself, but also for my relationship with Mia. As the curtain parted and the spotlight hit my face, I felt the audience's collective breath. Between my lines, I created a pause, and finally I spoke the words that came from the deepest part of my heart. This stage doesn't just tell a story, it reflects my story. Yes, I'm a queer individual. Today, I stand here not just as an actor, but as myself. There was a brief silence in the audience. My eyes drifted to the side of the stage where Mia stood watching me. Our eyes locked, and the pride in her gaze swept away all the fears I had held on to. In that moment, I knew I wasn't alone. When the play ended and the applause echoed through the theater, Mia came to me. She wove through the crowd, reached for my hand, and held it tightly. "I'm so proud of you," she said, her eyes warm with sincerity. "I want to be a part of your dreams," she added. "Together we can achieve so much more." This moment was about more than just coming out. It was about trusting someone fully, making them a part of my life, and growing together. Under the stage lights, I didn't just take center stage in the play. I stepped into the leading role of my own life. We're all writing our own stories on the stage of life. Sometimes we bring our fears to light, and other times, our dreams. But what about you? Could you find the courage to share your deepest secrets and dreams? This story isn't just about chasing dreams. It's about the power of self-acceptance and growing alongside the right people. Could you inspire someone else by sharing your thoughts with us in the comments? Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more stories. Remember, we're all the protagonists of our own lives. Stage magic.